I was stirring my daughter's hot chocolate when my phone buzzed with an email from an address I didn't recognize. The sender's name made my stomach drop, Victoria Chen, Martinez. My sister-in-law. Subject: Family Investment Meeting. Updated attendance list. I opened it. Dear Elena. After careful consideration, the family has decided to streamline the attendee list for next month's investment meeting. Given your current financial situation, we believe it would be less awkward for everyone if you sat this one out. We know things have been tight since the divorce, and we don't want you to feel pressured to contribute when you clearly can't. The family appreciates your understanding. Best, Victoria. I read it twice. Then I set my phone down and went back to stirring Sophie's hot chocolate, watching the tiny marshmallows melt into white swirls. Mom? Sophie looked up from her homework at the kitchen table. Are you okay? I smiled at my 10-year-old daughter. Is it about Thanksgiving? She asked quietly. Because Aunt Victoria said we probably shouldn't come this year. She said it in the group chat with all the cousins. My hand stopped mid-stir. She said that to you? Sophie nodded, her eyes dropping back to her math worksheet. She said Uncle Marcus's house isn't big enough for everyone, and since we're not really contributing to the family anymore, maybe we should just do our own thing. I felt heat rising in my chest, but I kept my voice calm. And what did you say? I just left the chat. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes that looked exactly like mine. It's okay, Mom. I know they think we're poor because I go to public school and you got divorced. Cousin Ashley told me we're an embarrassment. I set down the spoon and pulled Sophie into a hug. Listen to me. You are not an embarrassment. We are not an embarrassment. And you know what? We're going to handle this the smart way. I picked up my phone and replied to Victoria's email. Understood. Best of luck with the meeting. I hope Marcus's venture works out. Short. Professional. No emotion. Sophie watched me. You're not mad. Oh, I'm mad, I said, handing her the hot chocolate. But sometimes the best revenge is just watching people figure out their own mistakes. What Victoria didn't know, what none of them knew, was that 5 years ago when I left my marriage, I didn't just leave with nothing. I took my MBA, my contacts, and my work ethic, and I built something. While they were posting about my failure on social media, I was working 70-hour weeks. While they were whispering about how I'd never find another husband, I was getting promoted. 3 times. I'd been CFO of Pacific Logistics for 2 years. And Pacific Logistics handled supply chain operations for half the tech startups in Seattle. Including, as of last month, the exclusive logistics partner for NextGen Solutions, the biggest competitor to Marcus's startup. I hadn't told my family about my job. After the divorce, when they started treating me like a charity case, I just stopped sharing. When they asked what I did, I said logistics and changed the subject. They assumed I was some kind of dispatcher or warehouse manager. I never corrected them. Let them think what they want, I told myself. I don't need their approval. But now they'd crossed a line. They'd hurt my daughter. That night, after Sophie went to bed, I opened my laptop and looked at the family group chat I'd been muted in for months. Victoria had posted Marcus's pitch deck. So exciting. Mom had written, "Our Marcus, the entrepreneur. Everyone, please review the materials before the meeting. We need to show a united front for the investors." I scrolled through the pitch. Marcus's company, TechFlow Innovations, was developing some kind of AI-powered inventory management system. Ambitious. Actually pretty smart. But there was one slide that made me pause. Strategic partnerships. They listed their logistics provider as in negotiations. My phone rang. "Marcus. Hey, sis," he said, and I could hear the tension in his voice. "Did you, get Victoria's email?" "I did." Silence. "Look, Elena, I'm sorry. Mom thought it would be easier if I wasn't there to remind everyone that divorce exists. That not everyone has a perfect life. That's not fair. Isn't it?" I kept my voice level. "Marcus, your wife just told my daughter she's an embarrassment to the family. In a group chat with cousins. She's 10 years old." More silence. Then, quietly, "I didn't know about that. She also uninvited us from Thanksgiving. Victoria's just stressed about the pitch meeting. She's trying to make everything perfect. By excluding your sister and niece." He sighed. "Can we not do this right now? I've got investors coming in 3 weeks and our logistics partner just backed out. Some company called Pacific Logistics swooped in and signed them to an exclusive deal with our competitor. I'm kind of drowning here. I said nothing. Elena? You still there? I'm here. Do you know anyone in logistics? Like, anyone who could help? We need a solid partner or the whole deal falls apart. I looked at Sophie's school photo on my desk. Her gap-toothed smile. Her hopeful eyes. Let me make some calls, I said. A week passed. Victoria posted daily updates in the family chat about the meeting preparations. Catering menus, seating arrangements, talking points. She even posted photos of the new designer outfits she'd bought for the occasion. Mom chimed in constantly. So proud of our family. This is what the Martinez legacy looks like. I can't wait to tell everyone at church about Marcus's success. I noticed no one mentioned me. It was like I'd been erased. Sophie came home from school on Friday with red eyes. She'd been crying. Baby, what happened? Nothing. Sophie. She dropped her backpack. Cousin Ashley's mom is throwing her a birthday party next month. She invited everyone. Except me. Ashley showed everyone the invitations at recess. Victoria. Of course. She said it's because her party has a dress code, and she knows we can't afford nice dresses anymore. Sophie's voice cracked. She said it in front of everyone, Mom. Everyone. I pulled my daughter close and let her cry into my shoulder. And something in me hardened. They could insult me. They could exclude me. They could whisper about my failures. But they would not hurt my child. I opened my laptop and pulled up the contract. The one that Pacific Logistics had signed with Next Gen Solutions. The exclusive 5-year logistics partnership that made it impossible for anyone else to use the same regional distribution networks. The same networks that Marcus's pitch deck said were critical to scaling operations. My phone rang. Marcus again. Elena. I'm desperate. The investor meeting is in 2 weeks and I still don't have a logistics solution. Do you know anyone? Anyone at all? Actually, I said calmly, I might be able to help. Really? God, that would be amazing. What do you need? Name it. I need to think about it. Let me call you back. I hung up and looked at Sophie, who was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework, occasionally wiping her eyes. This wasn't about revenge. This was about protection. This was about teaching my daughter that you don't have to accept cruelty from anyone, even family. Especially family. I called Marcus back an hour later. Okay, I said. I can help. But I need you to understand something first. Anything. What is it? Your logistics problem? I know exactly what happened. Pacific Logistics signed your competitor to an exclusive deal last month. That's why you're stuck. Right, exactly. That's the company I told you about. They completely screwed us over. I paused. Marcus, I need to tell you something. And you need to really hear me. Okay. I'm the CFO of Pacific Logistics. Silence. Long silence. You're. What? I've been CFO for 2 years. Senior director for 3 years before that. I'm the person who signed the Next Gen deal. I'm the person who has the power to make or break your logistics partnerships. I don't. Elena, why didn't you tell us? When, I asked. When you were all talking about how sad it was that I had to get a regular job. When Victoria told everyone I was probably waitressing? When Mom said I'd thrown away my potential by leaving David? When exactly should I have announced that I was running supply chain operations for a $50 million company? Oh my God. Here's what's going to happen, I said, and my voice was steady. I can help you. I have connections throughout the industry. I can introduce you to partners who might work with TechFlow. But I have conditions. Conditions? 3 of them. Non-negotiable. Elena. First, I continued, Mom apologizes to Sophie. In person. In front of the entire family at your investment meeting. Not to me. To my 10-year-old daughter, for being excluded and insulted. Second. You, Mom, Victoria, and anyone else who's been part of excluding us attend Sophie's winter recital next month. Front row. You stay for the whole thing. You applaud. You act proud. Third. If Sophie is ever excluded from a family event again, if she's ever insulted or made to feel less than by anyone in this family, I pull every single contact, connection, and business relationship I have that could benefit any of you. Permanently. And trust me, Marcus, in my position, that's a lot. He was quiet for a long moment. You're serious. Completely serious. You want my help? Those are the terms. I need to talk to Victoria. You do that. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, my offer expires. I hung up before he could respond. Sophie was watching me from the table. Mom? What just happened? I sat down next to her. I just taught them that we're not people they can throw away. And that you, my brilliant girl, deserve respect. Are they going to be mad? Probably. But sometimes being kind means setting boundaries. Even with family. The next morning, Victoria called. I almost didn't answer. You're blackmailing us, she said immediately. No, hello. No, I said calmly. I'm offering business assistance with personal conditions attached. You're free to decline. This is insane. You can't hold Marcus's business hostage because you're sensitive about. Because I'm sensitive about my daughter being called an embarrassment? Being excluded from family events? Being told she's not good enough? She goes to public school, Elena. The cousins all go to private schools. It's awkward. So teach your daughter about grace and inclusion instead of snobbery. You know what? We don't need your help. Marcus will find another partner. Good luck with that. You have 47 hours left. The next call was from Mom. Elena Rosa Martinez, what is this nonsense I'm hearing from Victoria? I didn't respond to the full name treatment. Hi, Mom. You can't seriously expect me to apologize at Marcus's important meeting. Do you know how that would look? Like you're a grandmother who cares more about her grandchild's feelings than appearances. That's not fair. I've always loved Sophie. Then show her. She knows you told Victoria to exclude us from Thanksgiving. She heard you tell Marcus that having me at the meeting would be embarrassing because of the divorce. She's 10, Mom. She understands more than you think. Mom's voice got quieter. I didn't mean for her to hear those things. But you meant them. Long pause. Your father and I worked so hard to build this family's reputation. When you got divorced, I escaped a marriage where I was miserable. Where David controlled every dollar I spent. Where I had to ask permission to see my own friends. He provided for you. And I provide for myself now. Better than he ever did. But you were all so busy judging me for failing at marriage that you never asked if I was actually okay. If Sophie was okay, you just decided we were the family embarrassment. I could hear Mom crying softly. Good. Maybe that meant something was getting through. I need to think, she said finally. 46 hours, I replied. That night, Sophie and I made cookies. We didn't talk about the family drama. We just measured flour and chocolate chips and sang along to Taylor Swift. This was enough. This right here. My daughter and me, our little life, our little apartment. We didn't need their approval. But Sophie deserved their respect. The 48 hours were almost up when Marcus finally called back. Okay, he said, and he sounded exhausted. Okay. We accept your conditions. All three? All three. Mom will apologize to Sophie at the meeting. We'll all attend her recital. And we'll treat both of you with respect going forward. And Victoria agreed to this? Long pause. Victoria is adjusting to the idea. I had to make some things very clear to her about priorities. Good. Elena, can I ask you something? What? Why are you helping us at all? After everything we've done? I looked at Sophie's school photo on my refrigerator. Because Marcus, at the end of the day, you're my brother. And I want Sophie to grow up knowing that family can screw up and still learn to do better. But the learning part isn't optional anymore. 2 weeks later, I walked into Marcus's house wearing my best suit. Sophie held my hand, wearing the dress we'd picked out together not because we had to prove anything, but because she'd wanted to feel pretty. The living room had been transformed into a conference room. Chairs arranged in rows. Projection screen. Coffee and pastries. And at least 30 family members, all dressed up, all staring at us as we entered. Victoria was at the front, her smile frozen. Mom sat in the second row, fidgeting with her handbag. Marcus approached us. Elena. Sophie. He bent down to Sophie's height. Hey, kiddo. Thanks for coming. Sophie nodded shyly. Before we start the presentation, Marcus said, addressing the room, we need to do something important. Mom? Mom stood up slowly. She walked to the front of the room, and I could see her hands shaking. She looked at me, then at Sophie. Sophie, she said, her voice wavering. I need to apologize to you. I've said and done ththings that hurt you, and that was wrong. You are my granddaughter, and you deserve to feel loved and included in this family, always. I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't good enough. You are more than good enough. You're wonderful. Sophie looked up at me. I nodded. She stepped forward. Thank you, Grandma, she said quietly. Mom knelt down and hugged her, and I saw tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Mija. So sorry. The room was dead silent. Marcus cleared his throat. Now, before we get to the business presentation, I want to introduce someone very important. My sister, Elena Martinez, who is the CFO of Pacific Logistics and has generously agreed to help us solve our logistics partnership crisis. I felt every eye in the room turn to me. Victoria's mouth literally fell open. Elena has connections throughout the industry, Marcus continued, and she's going to facilitate introductions to potential partners. Not because she owes us anything, but because she's family, and she's choosing to help anyway. I stood up. I'll make the introductions. I'll open doors. But I won't do the work for you. TechFlow needs to earn these partnerships on its own merit. I'm just removing obstacles. That's more than fair, Marcus said. After the presentation, after Marcus impressed the investors, after family members awkwardly approached me with variations of "we didn't know you were so successful," Victoria finally cornered me in the kitchen. This must be very satisfying for you, she said coldly. What must be? Proving you're better than all of us. I looked at her carefully. Victoria, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I think I worked hard, and I got lucky, and I built something I'm proud of. That's it. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. I protected my daughter. There's a difference. She crossed her arms. Are you going to hold this over us forever? No. I'm going to keep my professional life professional and my family life separate. Like I should have done from the start. But if anyone ever makes Sophie feel less than again, we're done. That's not a threat. It's a boundary. Victoria stared at me, then nodded slowly. Fair enough. The following month, I sat in the front row of Sophie's school auditorium. Next to me, Marcus. Victoria. Mom. Dad. 3 cousins. Uncle Raymond. Sophie stood on stage in her choir uniform, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow with 30 other 5th graders. Marcus leaned over and whispered, "She's really good." "She is," I whispered back. When it was over, we all applauded. Sophie found us in the crowd and waved, her face lighting up. Afterward, we went out for ice cream, the whole group. Victoria was quiet, but she was there. Mom held Sophie's hand and asked about her favorite subjects in school. In the parking lot, as we were saying goodbye, Marcus pulled me aside. "Thank you," he said. "For the introductions. For pushing us to be better. For not giving up on us." "I didn't do it for you," I said honestly. "I did it for her." We both looked at Sophie, who was showing Grandma a drawing from art class. "I know," Marcus said. "That's what made it matter." A month after that, TechFlow secured their logistics partnership with a different company, but using contacts I'd provided. They closed their investor round. The company was officially launching. Victoria sent me a text, "Thank you for the help." "I mean it." I replied, "You're welcome. See you at Thanksgiving." And I meant it. Because here's what I learned. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean accepting poor treatment. It doesn't mean erasing boundaries. Forgiveness means saying, "You hurt me, and I'm choosing to move forward, but the terms have changed." It means protecting the people who depend on you, even when it's uncomfortable. It means understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is demand better from the people who claim to love you. 3 months later, I got a handmade card in the mail from Cousin Ashley. Inside, in wobbly 10-year-old handwriting. "Dear Sophie, I'm sorry I was mean to you. My mom talked to me about being nice. Do you want to come to my birthday party next month? Love, Ashley." Sophie taped it to our refrigerator, right next to her perfect spelling test and the photo of us at the pumpkin patch. "Does this mean they like us again?" she asked. I pulled her close. "It means they're learning. And we're going to let them keep learning, while we keep being exactly who we are." "I like who we are," Sophie said. "Me too, baby. Me too." That night, I opened my laptop and saw an email from Marcus. Subject: Big news. Elena, TechFlow just got acquired. We can't announce yet, but it's happening. None of this would have worked without your help. I know we don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm grateful we're getting the chance to earn it. Love, your brother. I smiled and closed the laptop. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about knowing your worth regardless of who's watching. It's about building a life that matters, with people who matter. And sometimes, it's about teaching the people who doubted you that respect isn't given, it's earned. By everyone. Even family. Especially family. I looked at Sophie asleep on the couch, her homework scattered around her, her mouth slightly open. This was my success. Right here. This brilliant, kind, resilient girl who would grow up knowing that she never has to shrink herself for anyone's comfort. Who would know that boundaries aren't mean they're necessary. Who would know that her mother chose her, always, over everyone else's approval. And really, what bigger success could there be than that?